Welfare Officer session. We have run a couple of these sessions already. I'd like to say we've run the other ones without any hitches, so a bit miffed that it's mine that seems to go all pear-shaped this evening. Hopefully though, as I say, it will be a maximum of an hour. Lots of sessions to get through, lots of topics to get through with updates, but please feel free to ask questions as we go through. The presenters for the evening, there will be 3 of us this evening and also 3 of us on the session tomorrow. So tonight, Ricky, our Chief Exec, will do the introduction in a minute. Myself, Designated Safeguarding Officer, who most of you know, and Ryan Haynes, Football Operations Manager. Liam, our other Manager of SMT, will be involved in the session that's taking place tomorrow. Agenda for tonight looks quite busy. There is a lot on there, but they are quick updates for most of them. So Ricky will give you an update on the current position for the County FA and the staff that we've got here. I will take you through a DBS update, open age, adult disability. Ryan will then talk through the grassroots technology portal and the coach education update. And then we'll finish off with new measures, safeguarding policy update and your preparation for next season. Over to you, Ricky.
Thanks, Jen. Next slide, please, Ryan. Good evening, everyone. This is our current position. This is something that is available on our website. We just wanted to go through the situation for everybody and bring people up to speed. Yeah, we are following government guidance. And we want to make sure that football's kept up to date and understands what's in place. So you will have all heard some updates last week that came out. So from the government, just to really confirm things, that all affiliated grassroots football remains suspended. As a county FA, we did have to take the decision to place a number of staff on the furlough scheme. We do have certain members of staff working remotely. We are all working remotely. For those that are still working, and we will do for the foreseeable future. And we are trying to make sure there's support there for clubs, leagues and our membership. If you do have any inquiries, please email info@derbyshirefa.com and we'll respond as swiftly as possibly can. The situation regarding COVID is very fluid and it's something that's impossible to say at this stage how and when we'll be back. Like you, we were all desperate to get football back underway. But at the meantime, in this current time, we're not able to do so. We do hope that we'll be back to normal next season, but as yet, we actually can't say when that next season will start. So there's almost likely to be a delay to the start of the new season. We are working with the government to determine when restrictions can be lifted, and only when it is safe to do so will the FA permit grassroots football to start again. So this is the current guidance that is out there once some changes happened in the restrictions last week. So we wanted to keep in line with the following guidance around outdoor football activity, which is permitted. Okay, so playing football individually, practicing a skill or for fitness is allowed. Playing football with your family or another person living in your household. An individual can play football with one person only who is not from their household. Coaching of an adult player one-to-one is permitted. All social distancing guidelines must be followed. Additionally, people are allowed to maintain grass and artificial pitches as long as they follow the social distancing and approaching hygiene practices. If someone has individuals of COVID-19, we ask that they stay at home and seek the guidance that the government's providing. Okay, this is the information that is not permitted. So we did have some people interpreting this, so we want to be quite clear on this. So coaching a child under 18 from a different household one-to-one, in order to meet our safeguarding policies, you must have a parent or carer with them. So it doesn't then comply with social distancing. So one-to-one coaching of anybody under the age of 18 is not allowed. 2 or more people from one household playing with one person from outside of their household is also not allowed. Okay, the FA is working with the government and Sport England to provide guidance for grassroots football. As the recovery strategy moves forward, we'll keep providing updates to everybody. Next slide, please, Ryan. So this is the staff that we've got here at the moment. You know, Liam, myself, Jenny and Ryan, we're all working from home, working remotely. And then as you can see there, the other members of staff are currently on furlough leave. You know, that will be reviewed and is constantly being reviewed. And when we know football is going to get back up and running again, obviously we'll review that situation. Next slide, please. This is our safeguarding process. So as you can see, you know, the same 4 people that are there, the 4 people are still within the business. So if you contact us and, you know, Jenny's not around, there's somebody there to pick up the inquiry. We don't want to leave certainly welfare short during this situation. We're still responding and keeping in touch to make sure with that support's available to you. Next slide, please, Ryan. And back on the 1st of April, we actually launched a 24/7 support portal. So this is available on this link. You can also get it from our website. And basically on this link, you can ask questions. And if we've already provided answers, you get the information. If not, you can then submit it as an email. We'll answer that question and put the information in there for other people as well. So it's something that's relatively new, but it's something we're trying to make sure and keep up to date. So actually, we know that you might have an inquiry late at night or early in the morning. There's actually some support there to help and support you. Next slide, please. Okay, are there any questions from anything I've just said? So this is a way if you want to raise your hand, I can come to you, or if you want to type a question in the chat. If I don't hear anything, I will move on to the next slide.
Nothing.
Not seeing anything, Jen, so I'm back over to you.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you. Apologies to the last few that have just joined us. We seem to have had a problem with the link, but hopefully everybody is with us now. So, DBS update. You all had the email or the email out to all the club welfare officers with regard to the temporary changes by the FA. That is for anybody who has a DBS that expires between the 1st of March this year and the 1st of October. That DBS has been extended for a period of 12 months. During this period, no new DBS checks can be submitted. So until we have a date for football to resume, or until we have an update from the FA, we can't process any DBS checks. I know that's quite frustrating for some of you, and I've had quite a lot of updates and emails from people asking around DBS checks, but unfortunately we can't actually process them at the moment. So as soon as we have a date for football to resume, or as soon as we have an update, we will post that on the social media platforms, and we will do our best to get round and carry out those verification visits or process those checks, whichever we need to do for those officials involved. It does mean still that no volunteer will be permitted to carry out regulated activity. So even when football does resume, if the DBS check hasn't gone through, that volunteer won't be allowed to be active. So we will still need that DBS in place before regulated activity can be carried out with under 18s. And as I've said already, the FA will provide further updates as soon as those can take place. Any questions on the update at all? Okay.
Nothing in the chat, Jen, no one's hands raised.
Okay, thanks, Ricky. Just to finish off then around DBS checks, previously your DBS checks have been done through the GB group, GBG. That has changed. You all had the email, some of you did attend the sessions earlier this year, and I have emailed out since the lockdown started asking you all to update the whole game system with your PIN. For those club welfare officers or club officials who haven't managed to do that, I've done that for you. So everybody now has a PIN in the whole game system, and that is where all DBS checks need to be commenced, apart from those of the club welfare officer. So few bullet points here just to take you through if you've not done it before. It's your role as the club welfare officer to add the individual to the role of a club DBS applicant. No other role, and we have found this out the hard way, as some of you on the call do know. Officials cannot be added until they have a DBS check, so don't try and add them as a club coach, don't try and add them as any other kind of official, just a DBS applicant, and process it that way. As soon as you've done that as club welfare officer, the individual needs to go into their portal on the whole game system to initiate the DBS check. And all that means is they tick a green box. It's not difficult at all, but quite a few of them were getting lost because the actual individual hadn't initiated the check. So they initiate the check, all the information, the account PIN to identify where the individual is from, together with their fan and contact details are sent to the GBG. They will follow the normal process at that stage, but then they will update the whole game system. So this will take out the duplicate fans that we've had for many years. So all of those with 2, 3, 4, I think we've had some with 6 and 7 fans. That process, touch wood, shouldn't be able to happen because it will just be the fan number, the fan record that's updated. And that, I'm told, the average of those now are done within a 16-day process. Some of them an awful lot quicker. We've had some turn around in 2 and 3 days. Some, if there is content, it can still take a lot longer. But that's because that check is being looked at by disclosure in the police team. The DBS then will update automatically if the disclosure is complete. And as I say, the average for that now is 16 days. That will tell us that it's clear. If it comes back or if it takes longer, if you don't hear anything for a while, drop me an email, I can check that for you. But more often than not, that means there is content on there. So that does need to wait for the additional checks to take place. Any questions around the integration at all?
Jen, we have a question in the chat.
Okay.
So from Helen Lawton, does applicant need FA number before adding club DBS applicant role? Yes, it will be when the club welfare officer adds them. So Helen, when you add them, the individual to the role, you will be doing that through their fan record. So they will all have to have a fan number. If they don't have a fan number, when you go on the portal initially, there is a box there that says that you can register for a new fan, or you can just Google that to register for a fan. That's fairly straightforward process, and it is actually easier for the individual themselves to register for a fan number because they can put all the details in. Okay, some more questions, Jen. Kieran, how do we pay for DBS? Does the individual then reclaim it back from the club? Depends what the process is that you've used previously. It's probably easier for the individual, but the club welfare officer will still go on to GBG to do the verification of documents, so that can still be done at that stage. And Ryan will come and correct me in a minute if I'm wrong, because he does all the finance side for us. So if I get these wrong at this stage, he's the one that tells me up.
No, that's right, Jen. But like you said, I think in this situation, because only welfare officers will have access to the PIN, it will be easier for the individual to pay for it themselves than claim the £10 back from the club. Another question, Jen. Nikki, whole game system is saying I'm not recognised.
Okay. Nick, do you want to drop me an email about that one, and I can have a look at it? There have been some changes around email, so you do have to have your email address, and that's what's recognised now, and it can only be one email on the system, so you can't have the same email for 2 and 3 fans. But drop me an email about that one individual case, and I'll have a look at that one.
Okay, Nikki says thank you, she will do. Another question from Martin Della, how does renewals work?
Exactly the same, Martin. If it's a club welfare officer, exactly the same. So you would do it, I would send the PIN out to you, you would do it on the GBG group, and then obviously we'd arrange for either you to come into Derby or a club official to meet you wherever you are. What we are trying to do, what we will need to do when we get football back up and running, is we will look to run clinics around the county, obviously to prevent lots of people having to come into Derby. But it will be exactly the same process, Martin, when you do your renewal.
Okay, Jen, no further questions at this stage. Nobody's got their hands raised.
Okay. If
Well,
anybody
might have another
struggles
question.
with that, if anybody
No,
struggles,
Martin just saying thank you.
all right, okay. If anybody struggles with it when we do go back, because as I say, once we do restart football and you do your DBS checks, they will all be on the whole game system. So if you're not sure, have a read of all those documents that we sent out last year on the 4th of December. But if you're not sure, drop me an email, give me a ring. You can always come through to myself or to Ryan. Ryan's been involved in the integration process as well, so either of us can answer those questions for you. Okay, open age then. Just a reminder, lots of you did come to the network session early this year, but it's just a reminder around 16 and 17-year-olds. So for you now, if you have open age teams, if you have under 18 teams, open age clubs, you need to make sure that those 16 and 17-year-olds are safeguarded the same way that your 6 and 7-year-olds are. So have you adopted the FA Safeguarding Children policy? We will touch on policies a bit later in the session. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. The FA have sent out, should have been a link in the letters that you all had later this year, but a template to do the safeguarding policy. So if you go onto the website and look at 1.4, there is a specific one there that relates purely and simply to open age teams. So as I say, don't reinvent the wheel. What you should also have done by now is identified which teams have got those 16 and 17-year-olds, added and linked those coaches and managers to the whole game system, because each one of those, not just one individual, but all of those coaches, all of those managers, all of those assistants now need to have that DBS check in place, and provided all of those 16, 17-year-olds with the safeguarding information. That's the Know Your Rights leaflet, which looks like that, who they need to report to. So any of the safeguarding policies that you have within your club that have been shared previously with parents and carers of young people also need to be shared with your 16 and 17-year-olds. Even if they are one individual that plays in an open age team, they also need to have those same documents. That's right. Any questions on the open age 16, 17-year-olds at all?
Nothing else in the chat, Jen, and
Okay.
I don't see any hands raised at the moment.
Okay. Same with adult disability teams then, brief overview of where we are with them. Again, I know there are some of you on the call who do have adult disability teams within your club, and the same applies as with the open age. Now is the time to make sure you've got all those policies, all those procedures in place while we have got that breathing space. Have you appointed a club welfare officer? Have you got a club welfare officer already? Are they going to do both roles? They are new to the role. Has their name been added to the whole game system? Have you adopted the FA Safeguard and Adult policy? And as previous, there is a policy there that can be adopted. Again, identified the coach, the manager and the assistants, recorded them on the whole game system, so they are recognised as they've been linked to adult disability teams. Have you communicated those policies across the club? Is everybody aware that that policy is now in place? Have you encouraged those staff and volunteers to complete the free online FA safeguarding course? Fairly straightforward one, fairly easy to access and to work through, so one I would recommend for all of you as club welfare officers. Have you commenced a DBS for any of those working with under 18s? Again, process can't be undertaken at the moment, so as and when we can start doing the DBS checks again, then obviously that's one that you need to keep an eye on. And review the best practice guidance. There's lots of documents been added onto the FA website around adults with disabilities, easy read support documents that were put together with groups of adults with learning disabilities to raise awareness and reporting documents as well. So easy reads that you can place around the club, put on your club website, wherever you normally raise awareness. So as I say, some good documents on there to have a look at and have a read through if you're not sure yourself. Any questions on adults with disabilities at all? I know the majority of you on the call probably haven't got adults with disability teams.
There's no questions in the chat, Jen. I don't see any hands raised.
Okay, thanks, Ricky. Over to you, Ryan.
Thanks, Jen. Good evening, everyone. Just some tips, hopefully, and some tricks to hopefully help you out with the technology side of things. So we will be sharing these slides afterwards, and this link will be one that you'll be able to have. So similar to the support portal that Ricky mentioned at the start of the evening, the FA Grassroots Technology team also have one. So somebody mentioned a little bit earlier on about issues accessing the whole game system. On here, there's a number of different articles that will help you with things like that. So as you can see here, we've got the player registration side, which again may not affect you at the minute, full time, the match day app, and a number of different things. There's also a couple of useful ones for you as well for officers. So one of them is the digital gym, and one of these articles on here is how to keep your meetings safe if you're looking to do club meetings online. So once you click onto the article link, you can see a number of different things and top tips with this article, and then an option to put if you think it's helpful or not. Just going back onto the homepage, what you'll also be able to see towards the bottom is some information regarding player registration with email for the new season. For the 21-22 season, and some different help guides with that. And just going back up to the top, there's also some information about how to manage the player registrations with under 16s. Whilst it's not mandatory from an FA point of view until season 21-22, leagues do have an option to make it mandatory for the upcoming season. So for the 2021 season, we're currently liaising with the leagues to find out which leagues are doing that, so we can then help you as the clubs to manage that process. So as you can see, a number of different points in terms of what the process is. And then underneath, there's a video which shows you how to add a parent or guardian's account to that young person's fan number, and a couple of PDFs there. It is important for me to note that in terms of under 16, that's all age groups from under 16. So it's not just that single category of under 16, under 14s, 12s, and so on. All of those in 2 seasons' time will have to have that as mandatory. If at this stage you're still not really sure, or you're after some more help, the best thing to then do is to click on New Support Ticket. And what that will then do is generate an email to the FA Technology team, who then should be able to help you with your query. Are there any questions on the Grassroots Technology portal?
There's nothing in the chat, Ryan. I can't see any hands raised.
Perfect. So like I say, that's a good point, a good place for you to go if you're struggling to get onto the whole game system, and a couple of the quirky things that are on there. A bit of a coach education update for you. At the minute, all of our courses are currently postponed until further notice. As soon as we have more information from the FA and government around when they can restart, we'll then look to pre-populate the website with the upcoming courses that we can look to then put on. Naturally, that will include the safeguarding courses ready for the new season. But like I say, until we know when that date's going to be, we don't want to be putting courses out there that we then have to postpone because they can't happen. There are some useful links that you can use at the minute. The Boot Room, FA Learning, and the FA YouTube channel. There's a number of different good bits of information on there for you as club welfare officers, but also for your committee, players, a number of different members of your club that can access that and get the football fix that some of you might be after at the minute. Are there any questions on the coach education side of things?
There's no questions in the chat, Ryan, and I don't see any hands raised.
Perfect. Back to you, Jen.
I think you got off lightly there, Ryan. I thought there'd be questions on courses.
Clear and concise.
Okay, folks, just to cover some of the few new measures for this next season, as and when we get started. One of the ones I just need to make mention of is one of the existing measures. We are assessed, as we've talked about before, at the welfare network meetings by the FA against the safeguarding operating standards every year. One of the standards talks about validation visits, and I know quite a few of you will have now received a validation visit from County FA staff. All our staff conduct them, so we have staff out, or we did have pre-lockdown, staff out most weeks. 2 members of staff every time, and we have a target to complete a minimum of 13% of unannounced youth club visits. So we will look at the start of every season as to which clubs we need to look at. We will look at a variety of clubs across the county, so some small, some medium, some large size clubs. We will also look at some that are in the city, some that are out in more remote areas, to come along and speak to the players, the parents, the coaches, to have a look at what the session entails, what we see going on, and basically find out what's happening with your club and your training sessions. Most clubs will receive an action plan following the visit. Some this season haven't been very happy about the action plan. What I would say is that is routine, because as you all know, when we come out and we speak to parents, parents don't always say that they know everything about the club. One of the standard questions we ask is, who's the club welfare officer? We'll ask about the safeguarding policy. We'll ask about the whistleblowing policy. Quite a few of them will say they don't know who the safeguarding officer is. They don't know who they would go to. But yeah, they do remember getting a pack of some description when they joined the club some years ago. So we know that information is given. Parents don't always read it, they don't always keep up to date, or they don't always remember a name. So it's not a criticism, it's just an email that comes out to you with a reminder to remind your parents, your players, your coaches of who the welfare officer is or what the safeguarding policy is. So it's quite often exactly the same things that go out in the action plans following the visits. They have been received very well, I will say, by most clubs. I think they've quite enjoyed county officials getting out to see them, and I will say that staff have also enjoyed attending. So I think for most of them, you know, they have been very positive visits. There is a timescale to the action plan. It is a 28-day window, and what I would say is please try and complete it within that 28-day timescale. There is a reason for that, and it does reflect back on us and yourselves if we can't complete in that time. And there may be reasons, I'm not saying it can always be completed, but if you can't complete within that time, drop us an email and let us know. What I would say to you is, if you have anybody who is suspended, anybody who shouldn't be there, who, when you've received an email from either myself or from the disclosures team with a suspension, please make sure that person is not present at the club, because we have had that this season and have had to suspend clubs because people are there that shouldn't be there. So please make sure you are doing everything you can to make your clubs aware that we will be monitoring those suspensions and we will be paying visits as and when we do get playing football again. Any questions on the validation visits at all?
Nothing in the chat, Jen.
Okay.
No
Moving on.
raised.
Okay, moving on to the new measures then. Ryan's touched on this first one already. For the 2021 season, this is a league decision as to whether or not player registration is mandated by way of email. So we are awaiting an update from all our leagues. We've asked them to update us as to whether or not they will be mandating it for this season. It is, however, for the 21-22 season, mandated by the FA. So what we would suggest is, while you've got this time now, it might be an ideal opportunity, if you have got some downtime, to try and start that process and get those emails into the system, the whole game system. There is guidance there for under 16s, which Ryan's just touched on, and it's just to highlight here for you that for the under 16s, it's a one-off process, but it is around online consent as well. So it's not just that they're doing it for any old reason. It is consent to verified players. It also ensures that there is no direct communication with young people as well. So as you all know full well, the communication shouldn't be with that young person, it should be with a parent or carer. Also, as it says there, allows parent or guardian to edit the child's details as necessary. Does somebody have a question then? No?
Nothing raised, Jen.
Okay, must be me hearing things. So the next slide, I'm not going to go through in any great detail. You will get a copy of these slides, but it is what Ryan's just showed you, exactly how you add that email address to the under 16, going through the player registration tab. So as I say, that will come out to you, so you can obviously have that detail to enable you to do that. But what I would say is try and get parents and guardians to do it so that you don't have to do them all. It's a far easier process. New measures moving forward for the 2021 season. So as and when we start the season, all Youth League committee members are required to complete the online safeguarding for committee members course. That's obviously new for leagues. Previously it's been for clubs. The package is designed for clubs, but obviously there are crossovers there. So all league officials are being asked to do it for this season. We've also, and this is a Derbyshire thing, we've asked for all Derbyshire sanctioned leagues to nominate a league welfare officer for those adult open age clubs and teams. And this is purely and simply to assist with the 16 and 17-year-olds that we talked about earlier. And I will just talk through the League Welfare Officer Action Plan, because hopefully we will replicate that in the youth leagues, which will help all of you in due course. New one that's already been cascaded out to you. It says within the standards, during this season, and it's in time for next season. So in time for the 21-22 season, all club welfare officers must have an in-date Safeguarding Children workshop qualification. That will be the recertification that I've sent out to you. So recertify every 3 years the same way that your other club officials do. And the final one there for the 21-22 season, all referees need to have an in-date Safeguarding Children workshop qualification, an in-date FADBS, and the parent-linked email address similar to the players. That's for all under 18 referees. So that should have been the 2021 season. That's now been dropped back to next season to enable, obviously, all those referees to get qualified. Next slide, Ryan, please. Any questions so far on what I've covered there on those measures?
There's nothing in the chat, Jen. There's no hands raised.
Okay, thank you. So just to carry on then with the league welfare officers, as I say, what we have asked is all leagues to identify, all have now nominated, hence the tick there. The next process for us will be to cascade out to all those league welfare officers, role specific information. These are brand new, so some of them are welfare officers already. We have got one that's across the youth and the adult leagues. So some of them are brand new to the role, and we will be holding a virtual meeting with them in June to obviously go through in more detail what's required. The qualifications are the same for them as for yourselves, with the addition of the online adult safeguarding course, which, as I mentioned earlier, we would suggest is best practice for yourselves, but it is mandated for the league welfare officers for the open age teams. In addition, the Safeguarding Children workshop and the welfare officers workshop, as and when we get them running again, we will pay for those for the league welfare officers, and we will ask in turn for the league welfare officers to encourage compliance from clubs. So the information that we talked about earlier around the policies, about the leaflets going out, we will be looking for those league welfare officers to support us to make sure all clubs can action that. League welfare officers will also then be able to support the verification of DBS checks. And this is a big one really, because for all of those open age teams, open age clubs, if they only have one team, or if it's a very small club, they won't have a club welfare officer, and they're not expected to have a club welfare officer. Hence the addition of the league welfare officer, who can cover a number of those smaller clubs and teams to support them through the welfare issues that they might face, but also to do the verification to stop all of those club officials having to come to Derby to do the DBS checks. So in turn, we will hope to replicate that role with the league welfare officers across the youth teams as well. And for all those the adult officials with the 16 and 17-year-olds that have to have a DBS check, we have said from a county FA point of view, we will pay for the first 100 DBS checks to try and encourage those officials to process them as quickly as those checks can be processed. What we have asked the leagues in addition is to try and support clubs with the finance once those 100 checks have been done. We've heard nothing back from leagues yet, so we don't know whether leagues are going to support, but we have asked them in addition to add some financial support for clubs as well. Any questions on the league welfare officers at all?
Nothing in the chat, Jen.
Okay.
I don't see any hands raised. Okay,
just to highlight, there is only one session left there. There is one running at the moment and 2 others that have already taken place. The FA are running player registration sessions on the whole game system. So if anybody wanted to link into the last one tomorrow, obviously the link is there. You can drop me an email afterwards. I can send that through to you if you do want to log on tomorrow night. Okay, and then just finally a few updates with regard to safeguarding policies. One of the things I have done while I've been in lockdown, unfortunately for all of you, is had a look at a lot of your websites. One thing that the FA do say is that every football club must have a safeguarding children policy. I haven't seen many of those when I've looked through the websites. What I would say is you don't need to reinvent the wheel. There is one there that you can just put your club name on. You may have one that's not on the website. You may have one that's not been updated. It needs to be updated. It has formed a number of complaints that I've received this season as well, last season, because people have asked for policies to be sent through to them and haven't received them. So that is something that you should make sure you all have on your website. It will help you run your club more effectively, no doubt about it. That best practice that you then promote across the club will become your common practice. The list of policies there are the ones that the FA say that you should all have. So your safeguarding, your selection and recruitment, whistleblowing, health and safety, anti-bullying, equality, your code of conduct, vitally important, because then when you do have issues with parents, which we all know happens every single season, you've got the code of conduct to go back to them with. And it also then makes sure that you have a clear club philosophy that's shared at the start of the season with all your club officials as well as parents and carers. One of the things that I do like to promote here is the FA website. If you go on FA Safeguarding, it will bring you to the best practice and guidance notes. This is a complete directory with over 50 policies and procedures, every single policy and procedure that you could want within your club. As you see 1.4 there, that's the Safeguarding Children policy and procedures. And then when you go onto the website, there is a 4A, 4B and 4C. 4A is for children and young people, 4B is for open age, and 4C is for league. So as I say, every policy there that you need to adopt for your Safeguarding Children policy. In addition to new ones this year that have just been released, as you can see there from the date, May 2020, 6.4, football staying home, online procedures for coaches and managers, some good practice guidance and tips in there, and the same for parents and carers. So good ones there for you to share out across your networks, across your clubs. Thanks, Ryan. Any questions on the policies and procedures at all?
Nothing in the chat, Jen. Don't see any hands raised.
Okay. Final couple of slides then. Preparing for the new season. Some of you may have downtime now, some of you may not, but this is an ideal opportunity for you to make sure those policies, those procedures, those things are in place for next season. One of the things I have had flagged to me is coaches. So for you as club welfare officers, you should know who all your coaches are. You should know who all your volunteers are. They should know who to come to if there is an issue. One of the things we have seen is coaches listed as club coaches. There shouldn't be anybody on the whole game system listed as a club coach. They should be assigned to a team. So even if you can't do a DBS check, you just list them, as we said earlier, as a DBS applicant. You won't be able to link them to a team, but you will be able to once the DBS is complete. But there shouldn't be any who are just down as club coaches. If they are, and you haven't commenced a DBS, or you aren't commencing a DBS, and I have emailed everybody who's got coaches on there, then I have removed them because they shouldn't be on there for that purpose. So make sure you know who they are, or they're assigned to a team. Make sure you've got a process in place as club welfare officers for when new volunteers join. If you meet with them, this is an ideal opportunity, probably not one any of us wanted, but we have, apart from the hiccup we had at the start, proved that teams can work for a number of different reasons, be it small teams, be it larger teams, meetings. Do an induction process with them so they see your face, so they know who you are. Make sure they sign the code of conduct, or you have an email back so you know they've had a code of conduct. Again, we've had a number of complaints this season when clubs have gone back to the parents, and it has always been parents that the issue has been with. They've signed a code of conduct, they've reminded them what that code of conduct was, so they can become useful throughout the season when you need them. And again, the selection process, biggest issue of complaints. Make sure parents know if they're new to the club, if you've got a new selection process, make sure they know how their child or young person will be picked for the team. I get regular phone calls, regular complaints because a child of whatever age hasn't been picked for the last 3 weeks, and that's not what they were told when they started at the club. So make sure, if you can, that it is all in writing so they know exactly what the process is for them. Refresh your posters and your contact details. You've probably all still got your green one with your name on. Make sure they are around the club websites and the club buildings if you've got them. Obviously, social distancing allowing. Make sure that you've got the Derbyshire County FA safeguarding poster. That's got our details on. It's got the police and social care. Make sure that you are as up to date as you possibly can be. I've seen some on the website that have got Kath's name on. Kath left over 12 months ago, so she shouldn't feature on any of your websites or any of your posters or contact details. Make sure when you do your induction with your new volunteer that you tell them how and when they can contact you. What you don't want as a club volunteer is what we had last week, with somebody emailing us at 1 o'clock in the morning and expecting a response, because neither you nor I are going to respond at that time of day. So you may have an hour where you do your emails. You don't want, obviously, for it to get on top of you, because it can do with some. And if that does happen, if you do need some support, give me a ring, drop me an email. I'm always here to support you. And one of the other things you need to make sure is you keep up to date. What I would say is don't download all those policies and procedures, because they are updated regularly. If I do get notification that they've been updated, then I will let you know. Some of the coach education stuff is currently being updated. We're reviewing the safeguarding recertification this week. We're going to look at the safeguarding committee members online. So all of these packages are currently under review and are regularly reviewed. One of the big ones that kept cropping up last season was the children under the age of 6. On people's websites, posting about asking for children and young people to play. If they've not attained the age of 6, then the FA rules are very clear. So as I say, I've picked that one out because that's one that has caused us some issues in the last season, so one to be aware of. Next slide, Ryan. And again, following on from the last slide, just the last couple of points I want to make really is poor practice themes. These were constant themes throughout the season that I've picked up on. Social media, as a former police officer, it was a bane of my life in the police. I'm suddenly finding out that it is as well in the role that I'm in now. People post keyboard warriors, lots of information goes on there. Once it's posted, it's too late to get it back. Whatever you think, private WhatsApp groups, they're not private, because as soon as somebody's upset, it's on a website and it's public facing. So please be very, very careful. Who's responsible for all those posts on social media? If your club is named, if you're involved, if it's a club professional, club official, then it comes back on you, and it could be a club charge through discipline. So please make sure when you're doing your induction, you're setting stall out, that people know what is and what isn't allowed on social media. Have certain people who can put posts on there. I know people want to put posts on about their children and young people, but you need to do that very safely, and obviously there are FA rules about that. And make sure you've got somebody who will monitor and who will keep an eye on it. Make sure it's relevant, and make sure that if there are any issues, it's reported immediately, either to yourself as club welfare officer, into me, into my discipline team. The other big areas around poor practice themes were about parents. That won't be a surprise to any of you. And as I say, this is where the code of conduct comes in really helpful, because if you remind them of the code of conduct that they signed when they started at the club with their child or their young person, then obviously that's an easy way to remind them that their behaviour is not acceptable. And the selection process, again, the third biggest one around poor practice themes, make sure all of your parents know that little Johnny or little Jenny won't be playing every week. There are however many players in the team, and it will be done on a rota basis. What you do need to make sure of, though, is that your coaches follow that, because if they don't follow that, then obviously that's when the complaints come in. The other thing I want to pick up on there is to make sure that you are aware of the new WhatsApp guidance. So under the Data Protection Act, WhatsApp guidance changed. Under 16s now are not allowed under WhatsApp rules to actually have an account on WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is for 16 plus. Parents and carers will allow their children to do it, but be careful you as a club don't condone that. Okay, next slide. Just before I just mention anything on this slide, is there anything anybody wants to pick up about the poor practice themes or anything that I've covered up to now?
There's no questions in the chat, Jen.
Okay. So just to finish off, last slide then, I can't believe I've quite got through it all talking that quickly till 8 o'clock. As the last slide says, just go back one round. Alone, as it says there, we are strong, but together we are stronger. It's a difficult time for all of us. Everybody wants to get back to football and grassroots, but health and safety comes above all else, and it is unprecedented times for us all. Just a reminder, the next slide, of our new club mascot. I'm not sure whether this actually got lost just before lockdown, but this is the new safeguarding safeguarding mascot. Got WhatsApp on the brain now. Safeguarding mascot for Derbyshire County FA. Safe Sid comes in 4 different forms, and you will have seen some of them on the slide. So you will see Sid when we get back to grassroots football in more areas. Stickers on football nets and sorts, so different ways that we are going to use him moving forward. So that's it, folks, from me. Quick whistle stop tour about changes, things that have happened in lockdown, and obviously things for you to think about moving forward. If anybody's got any questions, can still be asked now. You can turn your mic off, or you can drop a question into chat, or you can drop them through to me afterwards, no problem at all. Anything coming through, Ricky?
Can't see anything. I've got a hand raised. 1 second. So Paul.
Hiya, Jenny.
Hi, Paul.
I'm just wondering, with the parents being with the email situation, do they have to? How do they go about getting a fan number?
Okay, so the easiest way to do it, first thing I'd say is check they haven't got one already.
Yeah.
Because for an awful lot of these parents, they've applied for England tickets or something previously, and they end up with about 5 fans. The easiest way, as I've said, and it's probably not the most technical way, as Ryan will correct me, I'm sure, is just to Google it. If you just Google how to get a fan, it will come up on there, and it will allow them, get them to do it, because then they can put all their details in.
Right.
And one of the things I have been told that parents don't like doing is giving club officials their date of birth, which is why they don't like doing the parent link. So get them to do it themselves, and that's an easy way then for you know, them to keep their information to themselves.
Right, thank you, Jenny. Thank you.
Okay.
Jen, we've had a question come in from Martin Della. Will DBS 12-month extension automatically added to whole game?
Thanks, Martin. I did mean to mention that earlier. We have had 1 or 2 hiccups with this. The RFAIT are working through all of them, and they're going through them month by month. So you should see on the whole game system the date extend automatically 12 months. And I think all the dates have now been extended, but they haven't all turned green. I've currently got a problem ticket with IT, so they are trying to resolve it. As I think there's one of our clubs that I've got a couple outstanding at the minute that haven't turned green. But if you do get one that doesn't turn green, drop me an email, let me know who it is, and I'll get IT to add it to the ticket. But it is automatically changing the date, but not always the colour on your portal. Does that make sense, Martin?
Thank you, Jen. Yeah. I don't see anything further in the chat, Jen. I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. If there's no more questions, just a reminder that we have still got 3 sessions left. Another one tomorrow afternoon for club welfare officers, if there's anybody that you know of that couldn't attend, or if there are any referees that want to attend, we've got one on Thursday evening and one on Friday morning. But I'd like to thank you all for your time. Apologies with a hiccup at the start, but any queries, any questions, any advice, any support that you want from me, drop me an email or give me a ring. But for all of you, thanks very much for your time. Stay safe.